Hello, this is Captain Spud with a quick update to the N3 Hacking Helper. About a year ago, I'd say, I added the reference section to the N3 Hacking Helper, which has martial arts tables, Protheon tables, etc. It has also Booty and metachemistry tables that have a tracking element built into them. So you select which ones that you've rolled, pick all of this, and then we go back to the reference, and you can see basically you can just essentially write them here instead of writing them down on a piece of paper or whatever. And this has been, in my opinion, a fairly successful feature, gauged only on the fact that I personally find it useful. And since I am my core demographic and I code everything that I do purely for my own benefit, yeah, I call that a success. I've now added an additional tracking feature, and that is the ability to track the classified objective deck. So I'm going to show you how to generate that. So if you click onto the reference section and then go down to classified deck, you'll come to this screen. So then click generate classified objectives. You'll be presented 2 cards out of a simulated classified objective deck, a 40 card deck with Intelcom values attached to the cards that they would be attached to in real life, with, I believe, kidnapping at the bottom of the scale and telemetry at the top. It's also going to prevent you from drawing duplicates, which is the rule in ITS. If you draw a duplicate, you immediately discard it. The app will do that for you. So you'll end up with 2 unique cards every time, and when you get to your second pick, you'll have 2 cards that are not duplicates of the previously picked card. Anyway, once you see your cards here, you decide which of them you would like to do. So I am, as always, a profound masochist, so I'm going to choose Inoculation over Extreme Prejudice. And then you select your pick, and now it's locked in. The system will always present 3 available cards. It's always going to present Secure HVT since that one's always available to you. So just keep the text for that one up on the screen. And then the cards that you lock in will get slotted in here. If you're playing a mission with only 1 objective, you are now finished, and this is basically it. Just flip between the 2 cards. There was only enough room in the UI for a single full-size card, so the other ones that you're not currently looking at will sort of disappear into the background. But yeah, click on them and it brings them up. But yeah, if you do have a second objective, you click over here on the face-down card back, and then you'll get a prompt to choose second objective, and then the exact same process happens again. You will have experimental drug and designation, let's say designation this time. So I'm going to pick that, and now I have all 3 of my objectives selected. I can flip between them, and everything is wonderful. One drawback that you may be thinking is that since this is displayed on your phone, and I've got these nice colorful little badges here, in theory, an opponent, if you put your phone down, the opponent can look across the board, and even without really meaning to, see the colors and know what classifieds you have. So if you're concerned about that, what I would generally recommend is that when you're not, so look at the cards when you want to look at them, and then when you're done looking at them, hit hide cards at the bottom, and you're essentially just flipping them face down to go on the table. So that way they won't be displayed. The Intelcom values will always still be displayed, even when the card backs are down, because I figure that the text is small enough that there's a minimal chance the opponent will see it. But yeah, so then you show cards, and you can just toggle them back and forth as many times as you like, and look at the information when you need it, and hide it when you don't need it. So that is good. And then when you're finished your game and you want to trash your cards, you just hit reset. You can also, the cards that you select, in addition to being shown on the classified sub-tab here, are also going to be reported on the overall reference summary at the top. So up here where you list your booties and your metachemistries and so on, it will list the number of classified objectives that you have generated. So you can clear just the classified objectives while leaving your booty and metachemistry alone by hitting the reset button on this page. Or if you come up to the reference tab, you can hit clear all selections, and it'll prompt you if you're sure, and then it'll clear both the booty and metachemistry and the classified objectives, putting you back on the screen. So that is pretty cool. So there are 2 additional features. By default, the new kidnapping card is loaded into the deck. If you prefer, for whatever reason, to play with the old retro engineering card that was available from the launch of N3 up until Season 8 of ITS, you just need to hit Season 6 to 8, and it will shuffle retro engineering into your deck instead of kidnapping. And the system will default to 9, but you can pick the older one if you prefer that for whatever reason. So the second feature that I added was a bit of a security setting, because I recognized when I was building this that there was a real possibility that someone could use my classified deck generator to make it a little bit easier to cheat at the table. So if you're drawing from a physical deck and you draw 2 cards and you decide, wait a minute, oh, right, I just remembered, these cards are bad and I'm an immoral garbage person. I'm going to get rid of these and draw 2 new cards without the opponent noticing. And you slip them under and you draw 2 new cards. You can do that in real life, but it's easy to see in a lot of situations that you're fiddling with your deck. But if you're generating them on your phone and the back of the phone is toward your opponent, it's really hard for your opponent to tell the difference between generating 1 set of classified objectives and generating 2, 3, 4 of them until you're happy. It's all just, pokes on a screen that he can't even see. So that was a real problem, and I know that would almost certainly prevent most tournament organizers from allowing this to be used in a tournament. I mean, it would still be useful for casual play, and I design most of my stuff for casual play since I'm not a huge tournament person, but I at least wanted to have some kind of a measure to protect a little bit against it. So what I came up with was the selections locked feature. If you enable selections locked, the classified objectives that you pick will be stored in your browser's memory. So I'm going to turn this on. You'll know that it's turned on. As a visual reminder, it'll switch from generate classified objectives to generate and lock classified objectives. I was trying to stop people from turning this on accidentally. So we'll see if that works. So you click that. At this point, it all looks the same. I'm going to choose inoculation for my objective. And now what'll happen is that when you come to this screen, you will not be able to reset your objectives. The reset button will be swapped for a little square that shows how long the lock is in place for. You can still proceed forward and pick your second objective. So I'm going to pick sabotage. But yeah, you cannot back up and restart picking cards until this 30-minute timer expires. I was trying to guess what was the shortest possible game of Infinity. I figured about 30 minutes. It will protect itself against having that cleared in several different ways. So if we go back to the reference screen, there is a button here that basically, if you have any Booty or Metachemistry selected, the Clear All Selections button will appear, and you can hit that to get rid of all your Booty and Metachemistry. But it will not get rid of locked classified objectives. Even though I've just cleared this, the classifieds that I picked, I know it looks like they're gone. That's because they're hidden. But yeah, the classified objectives will still be there, and they will persist across, using the reset function, they will persist across, ordinarily if you have Booty selected and you refresh your page, the reference will clear out all of the Booty and Metachemistry, but it will not clear out locked classified objectives. If you're not using the lock feature, they clear normally, but if you are using the lock, they will persist across using the reset function. They will persist across reloading the page, and they will persist across turning your device off and turning it back on again. All of those, the timer will still be in place. Is this a completely undefeatable security system? Absolutely not. If you're technical to any degree, you probably know exactly how I implemented this, and you probably know exactly how to get around it. But you know who doesn't know how to get around it? Dishonest, stupid people. And dishonest, stupid people don't deserve your help. So if someone asks you, hey, do you know how to get around this? Even if you know exactly how to do it, don't tell them. They're bad people. They don't deserve help. Let them stew. Let them think that this is an unassailable fortress. Make the world a little better. Anyway, so that's basically the feature that I've added. It's just a way to reduce a little bit some of the clutter at the table. So this is also, I will say, this is the version 1 of the classified objective system. There were a couple of features that I thought up, and I just kind of didn't have the energy to code in right now. I just kind of do this in my spare time. I felt like coding on this weekend, but then by the end of building what I've built here, I was kind of tired of it, so I stopped. So at some point in the next couple of months, I will do a version 2 of this with the missing features. So hang on for features such as the ability to simply leaf through all of the objectives without actually randomizing or selecting anything, basically just a browse function. Also, instead of randomizing, I'm going to add the ability to simply select them, because that way if you want to generate your objectives offline with a die roll against the table or by drawing cards out of a real deck, and then you just don't want to deal with physical cards at the table because it's too much clutter, then there will be a mode where you'll be able to manually select them. And the only alteration I think I'll need to do is just mention on the reference screen whatever that they were manually picked so that you can't fool your opponent into thinking that you used the app to roll them when you didn't. And then finally, the last feature that I want to add is the ability, because when I designed these cards a couple years ago, the font was not very big, but it was at least reasonable for printing them out on a physical card that you can hold up against your face. I was not envisioning the design to work sideways on a phone, which is quite a small display. And so, yeah, if your eyes are not very good and you have a reasonably small phone, I honestly don't think you're going to enjoy trying to read the fine print at the bottom of Secure HVT on your phone. It's going to be a bad time. So for now, there's not really a lot of way around that, but eventually I would like to add the ability to, there's going to be a button somewhere that you'll hit and it'll swap the images out for plain text version, and which you can just read normally. So that is not in place now, but give me a couple of months and I will add that in. As always, I will say that because of the application caching that I use for the hacking helper, which allows it to work offline, unfortunately, the application caching is extremely sticky and it's resistant to being updated. So if you are seeing any date older than 2018-02-26 at the bottom of the hacking helper, then you do not have the update yet. To make sure that you get the update, you'll need to clear your browser's cache. And then if you're using a Firefox browser, you'll need to clear your application cache, which in Firefox is a separate button, usually right next to the existing clear cache. I'm not going to provide instructions. Go Google it, how to clear my browser cache. It'll have the directions for the browser that you use. Yeah, so do that and then reload. And if it still shows an old date, you might have to do it again and again and again. It's really, really sticky. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but that's the price that we have to pay to let this work offline. So I apologize for that, but yeah. That's basically all I've got. So that is the Classified Objective version 1 update to the N3 hacking helper, which, yes, I know is increasingly over time a less and less appropriate title overall for the app, since fewer and fewer of the things have anything to do with hacking. But, you know, whatever. It's the name that sticks for now. I'll retitle it in N4, whatever.